Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Holy Smokes Barbecue channel, and today we're making some smoked meatballs. Now these aren't going to be like meatballs like you would put on a sandwich, although you could. These are going to be more like appetizer meatballs, but one of the reasons I'm really excited about this is because of how we're making them. Because we're making Beefy Bacon Bourbon Meatballs. That's right, we're going to make these delicious meatballs on the Pit Boss Savannah Onyx edition, and we're going to use a mixture of ground chuck and ground bacon, which we're going to grind ourselves. So the Savannah Onyx edition is fired up and ready to go. I am too, so let's get started. All right, so we start out today with bacon. Now this is a kind of a slab of bacon here, and it does have the rind on, so I'm gonna take that off. And this beautiful bacon, as well as the ground chuck we're gonna use today, came from Strip District Meats, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the best butcher anywhere. And if you go online to their brand new website, you can have anything that you want on their site shipped directly to you nationwide. Just check them out at stripdistrictmeats.com. So let's go ahead and remove this rind, and I'm gonna do that using this gorgeous new Pit Boss knife. Pit Boss was kind enough to send me this knife, and it's very, very sharp, and I've used it a couple times already. Super, super awesome. Not to mention, it just looks really cool, right? All right, so we'll go ahead and just take this rind off, and you can kind of see the line here in the fat where that kind of rind exists. So we're just gonna take that whole section off. All right, so we'll just come right here. You can see how sharp that knife is. It just goes in so easily. There we go. Just like that. Save this, make yourself some homemade pork rinds. All right, so now we're going to grind this, but in order to grind it, we don't want it to be this big. Obviously, it's not gonna fit in the grinder that way. So we're gonna make some just kind of chunks of it to go into the grinder. We're just gonna kind of go down like so. Now a piece this size, easy enough to go right into the grinder. This one's probably good. These down here are a little bit big, so I need to make them just a little bit smaller still. So we'll just kind of go in half here. Again, it doesn't really matter the direction that we're slicing because it's all going to get ground up anyway. Now, in case you're wondering, this is about a pound slab. So it's going to be about a pound of bacon. You could buy, bacon already ground for you, or you could just use strips of bacon. Anything's going to work. I just thought it would be nice to do it this way for a change. Okay, these slices are ready to be ground. All right, just give you an aerial view here. This is my stand mixer with the meat grinder attachment, and this is just going to be used to feed that meat down into the grinder. So we'll turn this on to like the medium setting. And then in goes our bacon. And we'll use this to kind of push that down in. And you'll see, there we go. Gorgeous. Feed that in just like so. It's not the most pleasant sounding thing, but oh man, it's gonna be great. All right, I'm gonna grind the rest of this up here. All right, there we are. There we have our ground bacon, 1 pound. We'll set this to the side and continue. Okay, with our bacon ground, it's time to add the rest of the ingredients for these delicious meatballs. First ingredient is 2 pounds of ground chuck. All right, and there's 2. Now I'm gonna go ahead using my hands and just start to blend this together a little bit. I don't wanna go like a full mix yet. I mean, there's other stuff that we're gonna be putting in here, but I just wanna get that bacon incorporated with that chuck meat. Just about like that. Next, with a fresh set of gloves on, don't worry, about a ½ cup of Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. That's gonna help this stick together nicely. Next, 1 egg, about 2 tablespoons of fresh chopped parsley. We'll leave just a little for garnish at the end. And then this is a mixture of 1 teaspoon kosher salt, 1 teaspoon chili powder, and about a ½ teaspoon of onion powder. And now we can mix this up. Just get in there, don't be afraid. Get those hands dirty, or gloves, whatever. Now, as we'd normally say, if you are, making burgers, fresh ground burgers, you want to be careful not to over mix. Kind of like I was saying earlier, you don't want to just kind of like mix the heck out of them, because they're going to get to the point where they're tough if you're doing that too much. So we're gonna mix these just until we feel like everything is mixed together. And that looks pretty good to me. All right, so on my pan here that I have sprayed with cooking oil. Now for these meatballs, I'm looking for them to be about 1 inch to 1.5 inches kind of wide, just like that. Anybody want to take a guess as to how many meatballs we're gonna get? Play a little game with your friends as you're watching this right now. Turn to the person next to you and say, I think this is gonna make X number of meatballs, and whoever's closest wins. Now because there's a decent amount of fat in these from the bacon, these meatballs are going to shrink a little bit. And that's totally fine because these are, like I said, these are just gonna be sort of like grab one out of the pan, pop it in your mouth, like kind of meatballs, not necessarily like big for a sandwich. All right, do you have your guesses locked in? Because I know how many it made. And if you guessed 40 meatballs, and you are correct, you win. And hey, you know what? If you guessed that right exactly, be the first to comment on this video and honor system, okay? And be subscribed to the channel, and I'll send you something in the mail, because you're just that awesome. Okay, the meatball mixture is done, and now these meatballs are gonna go right here, like I said, on my Pit Boss Savannah Onyx edition, and they're gonna go on there for, I don't know, about 45 minutes at 225 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm smoking today using the Pit Boss Classic Blend pellets. It's just about as standard of a pellet as you can get, and meatballs, kind of a classic thing anyway, so a classic meatball deserves a classic pellet. I'm looking for an internal temperature of 145 degrees. Now that's not going to be my final temperature because we're gonna do a couple of other things to them to really take them up, but that's gonna get the smoke flavor that I want, and that's kind of what we're looking for on the smoker today. So I will be monitoring the internal temperature using the probes that came with the Onyx edition, and once they hit 145, I'll be back out and we're gonna make a delicious bourbon glaze to go with these meatballs. Cannot wait, so let's get them on the Savannah. My whole pan goes on like that, right in the middle. Get our internal thermometers right there. We'll do one of these over on the other side. All right, there we go. See you in a bit. All right, it's actually been about an hour. It took about an hour to get these meatballs up to 145 internally with that 225 smoke temp. Let's take a look. Woo, look at the color on those. Man, do those look good. Oh my gosh, they smell amazing. All right, with these meatballs right where I want them at this stage, let's go ahead and then take these off, and we're gonna finish them up in a cast iron pan. All right, I have here my 12-inch Sam the Cooking Guy. Love this thing, cooking it all the time. And we're gonna let this burner bring this cast iron pan up to about a medium-high heat. All right, my pan is up to temperature. Let's go ahead and just add some vegetable oil, probably about 2 tablespoons or so. You can already see it's bubbling a little bit because it's a nice hot pan. Let that oil come up to temperature just a little bit more, and then in go our meatballs. All right, that oil is just starting to smoke, and so that's how we know it's ready. And now in go our meatballs. Now, probably not going to be able to get all the meatballs in at once. I mean, I don't know that this pan is big enough for 40 meatballs. But if we have to do 2 batches, that's fine. One thing I love about the Sam the Cooking Guy cast iron pan is the lid. So I'm just gonna cook these in here. I'll flip them over a couple times just to make sure that they get nice and browned and done and stuff like that. And then we're gonna take yet another step to make these delicious. Because remember, we haven't done anything with barbecue, we haven't done anything with bourbon, and that's a key component to these delicious meatballs. Okay. Let's just flip this and see what it looks like. Oh man, look at that. See that? Oh gosh! Oh gosh! Oh gosh! Take 2. Look at that. Man, does that look good. All right, this batch is done. I'm gonna take these off, get the other ones in, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do next. All right, I took my meatballs out. They are just staying warm right now, and I drained most of the fat out of this pan. And now it's time to make this delicious glaze to go on these meatballs. So first, I'm gonna start with some of the best barbecue sauce anywhere in the entire world. And it is the Holy Smokes Sweet Heat Barbecue Sauce, now available on holysmokesbarbecuechannel.com. You can get your very own. This is a delicious, sweet barbecue sauce that has a little bit of a kick to it, but nothing crazy. This is my own homemade barbecue sauce. And now once again, just on a medium to medium high heat, we're gonna add about 1.5 cups of barbecue sauce. Look at that. And to that, we're gonna add about 1/2 cup of beef broth. And finally, today's special ingredient, bourbon. How much? Well, let's do about 3 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3. There we go. All right, let's just move this around there. We're just trying to make sure everything mixes together nicely. Now, the reason that I am stirring constantly like this is because the barbecue sauce is a sweeter sauce, which means there's some sugar in there, and sugar, if just left to sit here, would likely burn, and that's not what we want. All right, now we're gonna remove this from the heat, and now we come back with these meatballs. Oh, look at that. Look at it. All right, now we're just going to use a spoon here and just kind of toss them in this sauce. Oh man. Oh man. So we mix these together just like that. I go back on with my cover and just let these sit for a couple of minutes. They're gonna rest, the juice is gonna reabsorb into them, and they're gonna really start to absorb that sauce. Then we'll be back out and we'll finally, at long last, try these delicious meatballs. And after about 15 minutes in the hot pan, sitting in that delicious glaze, there we have it. And then we just come in like so with that extra parsley that we saved, and we make something that looks as good as it's gonna taste. And there you have it. Woo, oh my gosh. This might be the first time I've ever said this, but holy smokes, these look incredible. I haven't even tasted it yet, and we're already going holy smokes on it. Wow, beautiful color, incredible smell. This is just gonna be next level. All right, the time is finally here. It is time to try these incredible meatballs. Can't wait, they smell so good. And you could use a fork, but I'm gonna use a toothpick. Why not? Which one do I want? I literally have 40 choices. Get this guy right here on the edge. Still sitting in the sauce. Oh man. Here we go. Smoked bacon bourbon beefy meatballs. Oh my gosh. The bacon, all the bourbon. Oh my gosh. That, listen. Holy smokes. Best meatballs ever. Best, no contest. Best meatballs. Put meatballs here and here, doesn't matter. Get them out of here. These are the best meatballs ever. They're sweet, they're smoky, they just have everything that you would want in a meatball. Like, you sit this out, and it's not gonna last long. You might have to portion these out a little bit. Well, listen, you saw how easy these were to make. Go ahead and make these for your next party, your next gathering, or your next just dinner, or even just for you individually. Nothing wrong with just sitting down and eating some meatballs. But thank you so much for tuning in to the Holy Smokes Barbecue channel. And if you like this video, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and please click that thumbs up. It really does help other people find the channel, and who wouldn't want to watch a video with these delicious meatballs? Am I right? And for more recipes using bacon, you gotta check out these 2 videos. These are some incredible bacon dishes that we've done here. I absolutely love bacon, and if you watch these 2 videos, I guarantee you're gonna be craving some bacon. So check those videos out, and I will see you next time.